Start posing it off. I have it. No, and this is gonna be a great angle. I really hope you get lower. Okay. What did you do from down there up on my chest? So, you can go ahead and start if you want.
Lauren started.
Did she start?
Well, just now.
We'll edit. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, for now I leave you down to sleep. Whenever, our gift is black and white portraiture. And so, we're going to take these gorgeous images of this baby. We're going to go through a list that you guys will have in your folder of the images that you're going to have, that you're going to take. But I always invite the parent to shoot over my shoulder, because with us having black and white, they might want those color images. I often too, if I'm multitasking, if I have a really great nurse sidekick, which some of you guys have been there for me in these rooms, I will have them, I'll say, take a little video. Because people want to relive that moment where they were physically touching their child. I also want to make sure that they have photos of their baby's skin touching the things that are in them. So, let's go ahead and start at the beginning and talk about when you get, when you call in a photographer, or if you are the photographer for the day. So you have a house camera. This is your house camera. And in your manual are some instructions on how you want to have this set up. It talks about having the mode, which is on top of here, in AV mode. What that is called is aperture priority. Y'all, I'm a professional photographer, but I don't know where to put this SD card. Is the bottom? Alright, you guys get to do this. I don't have great hand control. I had a stroke 4 years ago, guys. So, my hands are weird. We're gonna shoot an aperture priority. So aperture priority means that when we put that all the way down, it's gonna make one little piece in focus and the rest blurred out. This really works out to our advantage when we're dealing with bereaved children. Okay, so here is an actual shoot that I did here. You guys might recognize these people. I photographed this precious little one. The mom was in a car accident. I think we all cried through this one, and had to deliver. I believe this baby was about a 21 week. But being in aperture priority mode, what I did, I focused on these sweet little toes, and it blurred out the entire background, if that makes sense. So that's what we want, because you aren't guaranteed that, like, there's not skin peeling down the legs, or major discoloration, or loose skin, or something like that down the legs. So we're gonna shoot in aperture priority mode, which is AV mode. This is all in these notes. You guys are gonna be able to find it. But AV mode is right under the M. And then what we're gonna do when we start that, before, if you guys have taken a call from me, you've always known I want 2 white pillowcases and a white sheet. Because I'm trying to make baby Moana look the most angelic that they have looked. Oftentimes babies are not in the best shape, and having multiple of these plus washcloths lets me be able to use some and throw them out and just throw them in the dirty ones. So what I always do with these white, because so often our parents have not, it's so unexpected, they didn't bring those special things from their baby shower. And if they did, we will incorporate that. But this just gives me a base to always start, to make it not necessarily look like they were only in a hospital. So I'm gonna wrap baby Moana. You guys know how to wrap babies so much better than me. But I'm gonna wrap her. And then the first thing that I always do is I do detail shots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wrap her little toes in the white sheets. And I'm always being so super respectful, which you guys know that, of the baby. I'm talking to the baby in present tense. I am intentionally trying to find features or making up features that I see. And I'll talk about, my gosh, those are some crazy toes, Dad. Is that from you? Just to make it a little bit lighter. Or, Mom, look at these precious fingers. Or pointing out something I see that looks like the parent. So then when I'm in AV mode, the focus of your camera is always going to be on the dot center of the camera. So there's a square and a dot. So I know if I go in here and always trust the automatic focus of your camera. If I go in here, I'm gonna take a photo of the feet and see how everything's blurred. If I'm in AV mode and I have it down to the lowest f-stop, the lowest f-stop, which we'll keep it on there for you, is this one dial right here. Okay, so AV mode, put the dial down to the lowest, which is 1.8, but I keep it like 2. And then we're gonna just take a picture of Moana's feet. And if there's chaos around it, it's okay. You're sending these to me, I'm gonna crop it, or our DRAs. We have a whole team called Digital Retouch Artists. A couple weeks ago, I was at Grace Hospital and I had a baby that I could not physically edit. She was in such bad condition. And it was heartbreaking. I was there till 10 o'clock at night because she pushed for 2.5 hours with shoulder dystocia because it was undiagnosed gestational diabetes and the baby was like 11 pounds and had already passed away. So she had been gone for like 2 days. So by the time with the shoulder dystocia, her body was in a horrible condition from them trying to get her out. So I just couldn't emotionally handle editing those photos. I took them, I treated them respectfully, and I know you guys have seen those kind of situations regularly, but if this is crazy, if there's skin peeling, if there's bone showing, still just try to wrap whatever you can. Our team of digital retouch artists only edit. They don't take any photos. And so they know how to do stuff better than me. So if I can't handle it, editing wise or emotionally wise, I send them into them and I say, please take care of this for me. Okay, so once we do our feet, we move on to other details. There's some main details you're gonna wanna take. You're gonna wanna do feet, hands, and it's okay if it's just one hand. If you have one hand that looks better than the other, I have had to in the past, when one hand has been just too damaged, taken the blanket and wrapped it to where just the hand is poking out. So we have just one hand and that's fine, you know, because we're just here to take some details of their sweet little girl. And so I'm gonna do that same thing where I have AV mode, I see a little red dot where it's picking the focus, and then I have Moana's baby hand, okay? And you can see that on this sweet guy right here. He was 21 weeks. Oh, and we just did a finger hand there with the finger. So, sweet little baby. I'll never forget those sweet people. But we just did a little hand. The next thing is you're gonna go and you're going to have baby Moana, because you don't want to move her too much, you know. We're gonna take her and we're just gonna move the bassinet or move our body, and we're gonna shoot the top of her head. If that's in a cap, because her head's too, you know, deformed, then we can just do the cap, or we can do the head. Then we will pull down her little side cap if she's wearing a hat and has to wear a hat, and we will take a picture of just her head. And then we're gonna come down to the side and we're gonna get a profile of her nose. And then we're gonna refocus one more time and get a profile of her sweet little eye, if that's possible. So once I've gotten those detail shots, because I don't want to involve mom and dad yet, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna check. There's a little play button down here, and we just go over and we can see what pictures we've taken. And if they look good on the inside, and you guys can take 15 of their head, I don't care, I'll cull them down to whichever one I'm gonna use.
Do you take all these pictures in color and then you'll flip
I'm gonna
them
do
over
it.
to
You guys, all I need you to do is just take the pictures.
Okay, and then
We're gonna
and then you'll
handle the
flip them over
gift
to
of
the
now
side,
let me on slip.
and
Yes.
you'll change them to the black and white.
Absolutely. All I need you to do is take the
Okay.
pictures. And Lauren or Tina is gonna handle getting them to me, or they'll send them directly into Now Let Me Know Sleep.
I know there was a black and white feature on there. I didn't know if that's.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
no. Let us handle that. We actually prefer to edit in color because there's sliders that target just certain colors. And with Now Let Me Down to Sleep, I pull the red slider and the purple slider all the way up to where it really lightens anything that's red and blue to help with lips and other things that need to be fixed. So then we're gonna go through, there's just a basic parent, if mom has had an epidural and can't move yet, we're gonna sit down in the bed. She's gonna just be in the bed. I always try, if you guys, when you go in your rooms, there's the couch and then there's that wall. That wall is blank. This beautiful portrait of this dad was taken on that blank wall by the window, and it almost looks like it was taken in a studio. Does that make sense? Now, if you guys were using this camera, I would actually flip it and put the baby towards the light. But because I was using mine, I kind of knew how. But that's another thing I want you guys to remember, to make sure you have all the lights on in the room, because we need to utilize as much light as we can. This light's almost a little dark in here. And then we always shoot light from top to bottom. So always think of the lights in the room as the sun, and you're gonna shoot from top to bottom. So if that window is open, I would be shooting with her head to the window and the lights coming down. Because if the light's going up, it does like weird shadows in their noses and stuff like that, and it does weird shadows at the top of their head. We just want to mimic the sun when we shoot it. So then we're going to go through our list. We always do just dad or partner alone. We always try to do some connection with that. If it's one photo, if it's two photos, the minimum that we try to deliver is 5 images. And I've had several babies where they are in such bad condition I can only do 5 images. I have another gallery on here from Asheville where I delivered 385 images. So it just depends on how they are. And keep in mind at the same time that you're shooting over their shoulder with their cell phone. So if you're taking this picture of dad, then you're shooting over his shoulder at the same time. So then we're gonna do mom and dad. I always try to do, it's really awkward when we ask them to look at the camera because no one's smiling right now. If they are, it's okay. That's just like a rare unicorn. But just say, I want to take a picture of you looking at your baby, and then look at me if you don't mind. So we always do looking at the baby, and then we're going to get in close and we're going to take pictures of the hands with the baby. We're also going to move our perspective. So whenever we take pictures, we automatically think of a 5-4 eye line. But if you guys change your perspective a little bit, and you take the cell phone of the parent or this phone picture, sorry, my husband's calling me, he's at the dentist, and then we go up here, you can get a full shot of Moana. So we can get an above shot, and you can do that with their cell phone. So while you're taking those detail shots, you can go up high. This is also great when baby is in the hands of mom and dad, and there's hands here. If we take that and we do this, for one, I always hold this as a protector because I never want you to drop anything. So I always do pressure like that. This is a short lens, so it'd be hard. But see, just keep trying. Like, I can't see it, so I'm just gonna guess. And the mom is not paying attention enough to really care what you're doing right now. I would even send that, and then I laying down to sleep. It's not fully, but we could crop that into something cool, if that makes sense. So change your perspective several times if you can. And then you're just gonna try to get some of these goal photos. The great thing about Now Laying Down to Sleep is that we have a couple of different options for you if you're like, holy crap, I don't remember anything. If you go to NILMDTS.org, NILMDTS.org, and go to medical, that's where you're going to find all the information you need for things such as forms. It is required to have one form filled out. There's 2 forms there. One would be to keep in their file. The second one would be to the one that I have to have in order to start shooting. It's a parent release. It covers me under the blanket legally. So you're going to get those forms. We have extra of those printed out in the bereavement folder, so you'll just grab those. Make sure, and it's okay if it's not mom. If it's Aunt Jane is in the room and Aunt Jane seems the most composed, let Aunt Jane fill that out. It's totally fine. But we have to have that finished because that also gives us permission to send them off to be edited if I'm not the one here photographing these babies.
All of these forms are already printed.
They are printed. We have a huge bereavement thing that they put together. So you'll go to NILMDTS.org. If you go under medical too, there is a walkthrough of how to pose a baby, continue education maybe. Let's see, okay. You can take this and get credit hours. There is a course. Maybe they did not put it on there. I'm sorry. I think they took it off when they put the course. There is printed off in the book. I know that I just saw a copy of it. Actual pictures that you can look at from Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep services. I know it's in Lauren's, or the book that we made for here. So you can just go thumb through that really quick and find out. There's also, I have this little posing guide that I have, if you want to create it in your phone, that just says, child alone hands, child alone feet, child alone ears and hair, child alone with mother, child with father, all hands together, parents rings, siblings hands, feet, children with grandparents, children's extended family, foot and handprints, keepsakes and family gifts, first outfit and memorabilia. So I do love that you guys here have the casting and all those things. So anything that's in the room that's special. We had at that baby I was talking about at Grace, they were Catholic Hispanic family, so they had brought in all of this Mother Mary stuff, and they wanted everything taken with the baby. And I delivered a picture of the baby with each thing, because I, not being Catholic, didn't know what was the most important, but I wanted to make sure I hit it all. So I had her a picture with 2 different crucifixes, 2 different candles, a special Bible that was brought in, and stuff like that. So that family had been able to prepare a little bit more and had gotten, because she labored for like 2 days. It's pretty crazy. So you're going to go through just those details. Do you guys have any questions for me about posing babies and how to use this? It is a little different in the NICU because you guys are dealing with, oftentimes, you're taking these photos at the moment of end of life. And I know that that is so hard because these parents are in such a raw moment of grief. And I would encourage you just to tell the story of what's happening, because I've always said, based on my talks with my friend Sarah, who lost her baby, that every tear is an I love you, and just lean into that. If a mom is crying because her baby's taking their last breaths, but that's the only moment we have a baby that is alive, that is somewhat breathing, somewhat has natural color, take those photos. Take those photos of the tears falling on that baby. Give me 180 photos for me to look at and choose the best 70 to send them, So, and then I would give them their moment, maybe leave and come back, and then take those detailed shots. I know you probably don't necessarily have bassinets up there. You could do it in the NICU bassinet that you have. Just try to, wrap in white sheets and stuff as best you can.
And in the bereavement camera, there's a sheet of paper, and that has a bunch of poses on there as well.
Yes.
There's like a pose
It actually
guide.
tells you how to use the bereavement kind of thing in here. And I think this is the sheet, yes. So this is the sheet I was talking about, where when you go to get the camera, you can look at these sheets. These are just standard poses. If you throw all these out the window and do how the spirit leads, let it be, We're gonna do our best. I know that everything that you give these families is a gift. I do want to touch on real fast, what is the gift of Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep? So not only are we giving them portraits, it doesn't stop right there. So Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep is a nationwide or worldwide nonprofit. They have photographers in Africa, everywhere. But we're strongly based in the United States of America. So you get the gift of black and white portraiture. They also get, there's a company called mpics.com. They're owned by Miller's, which does professional albums that are like the wedding lay flat quality. They get a free album like that. All they gotta do is say, these are the pictures I want, or do it for me. And so they will get a free album. They also get connected to families who are in the same stages of grief. So if they click yes, I want more information on the form that we fill out, they are connected online with other families who had stillbirths in this quarter, in this month, if there's a lot, so that they can walk through with other moms who are saying, how are you still breathing? Because I'm not. Or this is something I'm doing for myself. The next thing is we do remembrance walks every year. where their babies' names are read out loud, if they want them to be read out loud. They're all over America. We don't have a local walk, but even if they were to contact Now We Lay Down to Sleep, you could know that baby Samuel's name is being read in Chicago, and we lit a candle in our house on the same day for that. So it's just to make them feel the importance of that day, to know that so many of these people are choosing life when they have life-ending diagnoses, and they just want to see their baby to the day that was chosen for them to pass away. Or this is a complete surprise. You know, you didn't know and you're in the NICU. You know, we want to make sure that every life is important and every life should be remembered. And that is why we do remembrance photography through Now We Lay Down to Sleep. The last thing I'll say is, if you guys know any photographers who want to help us on our team, it's like me and one other girl who can service Hickory, and you know, we can't always be here. But I would love to buy them coffee and talk to them. So, any questions that you guys have? I appreciate y'all coming out today.
Appreciate you coming.
Yeah, and you guys know my cell phone's out there. Y'all call me, text me. I would appreciate if you didn't call me after 10.